Hello, everyone. We are here today with a very special guest, Sylvia Gorajek. Sylvia is the founder of America Unlocked, which is a platform, developed to mentor applicants that are seeking the EB-1A visa category. So, Sylvia, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Lucas, for inviting me. It's a true pleasure and honor.
So, Sylvia, I always like to start, the interview knowing a little bit more about you. I saw, your story on your website, which is very touching, and it hits close to home because, as you know, I myself am an immigrant, and a lot of the struggles that you described on your website were struggles that I myself went through. But yeah, I kind of want to start with that, and like if you can tell a little bit more about your story.
Yeah, happy to. It's been quite a convoluted story, which when stepping into it, I had no idea it would, become that. You feel like you probably, could just choose a path and that fits your profession, your narrative, and just go with it. In my case, I was on a tourist visa in the US when I and my husband decided that, okay, it's a great space. We landed in Silicon Valley. This was dreamland also in the marketing world, to work with companies that are so well known, that are global. We already worked with global companies back in Europe, but Silicon Valley is really the best place to be if you want to be connected with them. So we figured, okay, we like it here. We want to, figure out the path. It turned out that some of the attorneys that we were referred to, they were referred through our friends or family, and they were mostly family, immigration
Mhm.
attorneys. And so they asked us questions, but they did not have a path for us. They were saying like, sorry, maybe you start with a student visa. Well, I was 27, Jacob was 31. And of course, people do student visas, when they're older, but that's not the purpose with which we came. So we kept bouncing from law firm to law firm, somehow haven't come across the firm that would tell us about the self-sponsored visa in the first
Mhm.
place. Even about the O-1, we found out from Facebook pages. I don't think Facebook groups existed back then. It was 2012. And so we ended up with an attorney in Los Angeles. I don't even know if he was an actual attorney back then, but someone who claimed that they know how to do this, that we can do this, and that, filed the O-1 petition for my husband, O-1B. The story is very long, so it's hard for me to put it in a nutshell. It's definitely available on our blog at americanlog.com. But we ended up being denied with the first O-1B petition, despite having, for example, recommendations from an Oscar nominee, a Polish Oscar nominated director, Agnieszka Holland. And something just didn't add up. And I was like, how come, we meet the criteria? What's the issue here? So we revised the petition, asked the attorney to refile it, got approved. And so that's what how it feels, and many other people know on immigrant visas how it feels. You get the approval one day, and so you're excited about the outcome. But then the next day you start to worry about, okay, like, how do I secure my stay? Because in a year or two, that will be gone. And we all know that it takes months or even years to, to file a petition or to get a decision, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so soon after we started to, to look for other ways. We landed on E2 visas at some point. And then after 5 years of that, back and forth struggle, I came across the EB-1A visa from just someone in my network. And I even asked my attorney that did the E2 for us, what do you think about this? Like, would this make sense? And he said, like, no way, this is not something for you guys. And good thing is that I had a different attorney that said this is perfect. I already had lots of media achievements. I was running my own talk show. I had partnerships. So since that attorney from E2 said there is no way that I could get an EB-1A in January, in May, I was already approved.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's how it started. But, because of all those years of just like looking for answers and thinking I speak with people who should know best, it was not happening. And then since we were the whole time in Silicon Valley, so many people in my network found out about this also from me. And then I've been supporting them through this journey. I was very hands-on on my own petition and our journey. So it became kind of my hobby and passion to educate people first in my network about this, but also people in Poland who are following our journey, including media. And I've been just helping people in this space for all those years. And eventually I decided, you know what, let's put this together in a mentorship program, in a community of people who also have been through this. They know a lot about their own industries and how it was positioned in their industries. They have experience either self-petitioning or working with an attorney. And we have this collective knowledge. It wouldn't make any sense to just have it evaporate. So I put it together, what now is called America Unlocked, and I couldn't be more happy to support people on the journey, whichever path they choose, whether it's O-1, EB-1A, EB-2NIW, whether they want to self-petition or work with an attorney. We have all the support and the solutions. So it's really an exciting journey.
Oh, that's really, really nice, really nice. And actually, jumping into the American Unlocked, tell me a little bit, like about the platform, like for example, let's say if I am someone that wants to pursue the EB-1A and I come across your platform, like what kinds of services do you provide? What kind of mentorship, like what people can expect, once they come across, American Unlocked.
So it also depends at what stage they are of their own journey, right? Because as you know, people are at all the different stages, from like complete unawareness to like being ready to file, just looking who to do this with or, how to do it. We support in all of those steps and all of the journeys. Currently, right now, everybody would start at step 1, which means joining the community, getting to know each other, getting to know their own, for everyone else, getting to know their story, joining our events and asking questions or, asking for feedback, whatever this may be, So they join what you can think of a community events. They get access to very insightful resources and we collaborate, on all this and kind of like in defining what's their path and where they are at. The next step would be to get access to courses because, this is the best format that I could think of to put together at least the common, knowledge about this. Like the common, I mean, like the part of the journey that's common for all of us, right? So I put all of that in the courses so that people can just easily go through them. They can chat with our AI. In addition to having access to the community and our Q&As, they can self-assess in much more detail than what they would do, even speaking with ChatGPT or finding out online, because we go over real life examples, real life evidence. They can see really, they can benchmark what they already have accomplished with like actual examples of petitioners and what works and what doesn't. And then from there, they're welcome to work on portions of their petition with us. So they can either refine their proposed endeavor or they can work on their letters. It takes a lot of like thinking and polishing your evidence and your profile with respect to different criteria. So that's what they can do in step 3, very much hands-on with even on-demand expert feedback. And our resources give them everything in case they want to self-petition, which is of course a lot of work, but many people do this blindly, and if they want to give it a try, they're very supported in that. Or if they want to work with an attorney, we're friends with a few very vetted firms that they're first referred to. They're welcome to consult with them for free as a part of the membership. Or if they choose to work with an attorney of their choice, we also support them in that journey. I mean, this is a very petitioner, if you will, or talent first program and community. And this is all with them in mind. It's not owned by a law firm. I'm not an attorney. It's owned by people who have been through this journey. And all we care about is people's success.
I think it's very interesting because what I see a lot of, like self-petitioners, when they try to do the process by themselves, like they will, they'll go to Reddit, they'll go to Facebook, or they go like to other groups. But the problem is like those groups, they don't have, like several examples of like real time, recent RFEs, or even
Yeah.
denial letters, or even, like the way that petitions are written, or things like that. And that, kind of limits, the way that, self petitioners can put the petition together. So,
Yeah.
having like a platform like yours is very interesting because then, they will have the choice, like if they want to go fully, just self petitioner, then they will have the support for that.
Yeah.
And even if they choose an attorney, then, it will be a much more informed position, like from someone that went through, let's say successful cases that were probably, like denied also, our fees and etc. So that is, it's a different conversation, when the customer comes to a firm not knowing much, they just want the green card. And when like a customer comes, very well informed with, how the process works, what kind of documentation they can expect, and etc. So that's very interesting. Like,
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And that's what we hear from attorneys that are just friends with us. I don't want to even say partners because
mhm,
they're volunteering even to, to help our community because it's something different than what they see in their everyday work. Because our members are
mhm,
action takers, are the ones that want to understand this process. And I appreciate it so much. I also try to educate that this is needed because, as you know, those who are at the beginning of the journey, they might not even be aware that that's valuable, right? And
yeah,
so I understand that when working with an attorney, attorneys do not have the whole time in the world to spend time with every customer, every
mhm,
client, go with them through like ins and outs of the criteria of the petition. So your job is also, it's not an easy job because at this, on one side you want the petitioner to bring you the best evidence, but at the same time you don't often have the means to like, get in their brain, be one-on-one with them that much in order to come up even with ideas for what this evidence could be. So with our program, that's what they go through. That's what they understand bottom up. And when they decide to work with an attorney, they bring way higher quality evidence and ideas
mhm,
as to how they could be positioned, and then they have that kind of help in putting it together and potentially even kind of building up from there in terms of the maybe putting together some dots, right? Because when we are in our own careers, we don't sometimes even see the value, right? So attorneys' role and also our role as mentors is to help them bring it more to the surface. But in terms of their own achievements and evidence, like there is no one else that could come up with what this actually is. So I find this be extremely successful, extremely valuable. All our members are just so grateful for this kind of support. And I know already that for attorneys, this is also a whole different quality of working with a client like that.
No, for sure. And one thing like I find very interesting, not just about your platform, but about yourself
Mm,
within an EB1 context, is that like a lot of people they think EB1 is for scholars and for academics, for professors, for people that have thousands of citations. But you're like someone that came from the industry, and a lot of people, a lot of your customers, they come from that background as well. And kind of touch base on your experience at Silicon Valley. Do you see that, founders and entrepreneurs and people like that are very, on the very top of their field,
mhm.
are they even knowledgeable about the EB1? How does that, like, how's that like, the everyday of, their immigration journey? Do they know about the EB1? Is it something new for
Yeah.
them?
Yeah, that's a great question. And even to address what you mentioned in the beginning, that I found out about this pretty recently. Only when I started to promote American law globally, that's when I came across, oh, okay, so there are many scientists and people who look for, citations and peer reviews, but this is a whole new world to me. I mean, right now I'm very familiar with it, and I've seen those cases, and we talk about this, but up until about a year ago, I wasn't even aware of that niche that much, because my whole network is founders or people in IT, in corporate work, and so yeah, so this is more of the category that I've been supporting so far. And um and to answer your questions, uh, yes, they typically are not aware of their, potential qualification. It's not very known among their networks. That's where my passion came from, because I myself, I was not. Maybe also because of my niche, even though I was in Silicon Valley, the law firms were potentially more familiar with still more of like the scientific side of it. Perhaps maybe it was just the time when it was on starting to be on the rise, that founders and people in media and creative industries could also apply for these visas. But I was definitely a part of that voice, that this is where what you should look into. And it has been like this till now. They are definitely surprised most of the times, because even if they are really successful, and I will not lie if I say that yesterday, I could even say today, but say this topic came up yesterday. I spoke with a friend from Europe whose company is making hundreds of thousands of dollars a month, and he still would not be essentially that confident
Mm,
that,
yeah, that's
that
common. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that he could be eligible for this, because he, as many other people, maybe more in Europe, think that those visas are for well-known influencers. Now we call them influencers, but more even like artists,
Yeah.
than entrepreneurs like him. And I'm like, dude, you have no idea. Once you accomplish something, even if you haven't lived here yet, it's pretty tempting to give yourself a try in America. But then also, of course, if you've already been here and accomplished things here on this market, that's also extremely valuable, and sometimes easier, although not necessarily. I mean, it doesn't have to be like that, right? You don't have to be in the US. That's like another topic. But something
Mhm.
that's a common misconception for people, among people abroad, is that if they don't have achievements necessarily on the American market that would align with the criteria, they would not qualify, which is not true, as you know.
That's true because recently we had a customer that he started his career as a minister, like a pastor,
Mm-hmm.
and then he switched to more like a consulting field, and he grew like a lot in his career. At some point he got like like an internationally recognized award in many other achievements. Like, and he recently got the green card approved as well in the EB-1 category. Like with no publications, no citations,
Yeah.
nothing like that. It's just like very industry oriented profile.
And the same applies to people who have corporate achievements,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
There is a suite of criteria that typically people in those careers would would fall into, and it doesn't have to be magazine publications or awards, although as you know, many things might even fall under those criteria that are not obvious. But anyway, yeah, I've been educating a lot of corporate professionals about this. We even have inside American Locked a mentor who's very dear to my heart, because he went through my community even prior to American Locked, that I had mostly for people in Poland, where I'm from, and then got his green card to his extreme surprise. I even have those quotes, like, I was already considering Canada because no one would give us any options, any chance. And I'm like, no, you've been respected in your industry, so let's just go with your you have such a great career. It's very moving for me because people are following our steps and they're fulfilling their dreams. He even lives in Santa Clara, where we used to live. Like, they get all that kind of support as well, because getting a green card is one challenge, but then what about like making the move, or staying here, and so all of that. So it's such a rewarding mission that, although I had nothing to do with immigration before, I don't have that education. My education is master's in social psychology. Like last year, I was like reflecting on how it all came to full circle, where now I have a community that's helping each other on this journey.
And as you know, like last week, we had this decision from the Nebraska court, and actually, interviewed Brian Green, which was, the attorney responsible for the lawsuit. That decision basically, says, which, although it's for a specific case, but it says, like, for the first time, that the final merits for the EB-1A category is illegal. And I know that you discussed that, with your community. How was their reaction? Did they see that, with some sort of hope or more like skepticism? Like, how did they react to that?
Everyone is really curious how this will unfold. The fact is that it's kind of turning the whole way people were thinking about this and attorneys were thinking about this upside down, right?
Mhm.
Although it's coming from not from USCIS, but like from from this decision in court. So we have yet to see what kind of impact it will have, but it's huge. Everybody is shocked, but also hopeful that the way the decisions will be made now will be closer to what it has been a little earlier, maybe not prior to 2009, but like, even like a few years ago, because recently we all heard that the trend is that the final merits have been the space in the petition that were questioned. And it has been something newer, and of course, people who have those coherent careers could be less stressed about this. But still, if you don't use the right wording in the petition, that might have a big impact, right? So everybody is very curious. We're going to talk about this next week during our community strategy call, and then the following week with an attorney, and we'll just be observing this really closely. And the best part is that we will have the most current insights, and we'll be supporting each other on this journey. It's a very interesting decision, and I'm glad that you did that interview. Actually, I watched it from the beginning to end. I studied it really closely on Monday morning, and I felt grateful that you did this, because otherwise all we would have would be like just headlines. And that way we can really understand how and why this happened, and even understand better the significance of this.
Yeah, and that's true. And for those who are watching us, if they want to join your community or your mentorship, how they can reach out to you? How can they reach out to your platform?
Definitely, it's very easy. AmericaUnlocked.com. This is exactly what we do. We unlock access to America through our mentorship and support. And in there, you can all see exactly what our mission is. Also read my visa story, which is linked in there, and and find access to the community. Once you decide to join, you're in there, right then, and that's when you can get started in transforming towards the permanent residency. And it's been truly transformative for so many people. It's interesting to say, but really it's been hundreds of people that I have helped so far. So I'm like, let's just put this together. I cannot give it up. It's been so helpful, and I appreciate that you, Lucas, really saw the uniqueness in this and wanted to bring more to the surface and bring more attention to it. That's truly special.
For sure, for sure. I mean, as I said, it's definitely something that I relate to. So yeah.
Yeah.
Sylvia, thank you so much for joining us, and it was really a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you so much, Lucas, and we'll be definitely in touch.